a surreal moment. None of us really wanted to leave, but thought we should.
You go on armored truck and soldiers, then you go over to the beat and you would see another group of armored trucks with soldiers.
I was hoping to get something completely different. I didn't know too much about Egypt, so I didn't really have a formed conception of what I would be experiencing. But I don't know, I stayed close to home to go to college. I ended up going to college with my sister and my best friend, like very comfortable, very comfort zone. So I wanted to do something just completely new.
The first noticeable effect was that they canceled the trips. For example, I was signed up to go to the pyramids for Friday, but they canceled that and a couple of other trips that were going to go on that week. So that was the first noticeable impact. And then the curfew, which basically meant that we could only leave campus for a limited time, and then the campus imposed curfew, I think it was at 4, which basically meant that we really couldn't leave the campus at all.
I drew a picture of where our neighborhood was just because I didn't really know the area at all before I got there, so I was trying to orient myself. Like, this is the island of Zamalek, which is the neighborhood we were on. It's in the middle of the Nile. It's not a very good picture, but I just wanted to know where we were in relationship to Tahrir Square, which is that T square. We were up here. We couldn't see anything actually from there, but we could see some stuff from a, I don't know, like we could feel the tear gas one day, just outside sitting at lunch. You can hear all the rubber bullets going off, and the sound that the canisters make when they're shot. It's just, I don't know, startling, to say the least. The most I ever actually saw was we went to the rooftop of our friend's apartment nearby on Friday, the day when the protesters got angry. I think it was called the Day of Anger or something.
The nucleus of like the campus, like
the TV. Everyone was like,
remember, like I remember people like going out to get food and then going back like to the common room. Like everybody just was magnetically drawn to that one space. Plus, not having internet for those 2 weeks, really like that was the only link to the outside world because we didn't have anything else. Like they Mubarak shut the phones off like for those first couple of days, and then the internet was kept off, and so that really was our only link with the outside world.
Yeah. I felt like, I mean, because we left, we only had 4 days without internet, but it felt like, I don't know, we're just so connected to internet. We're like, oh my god, can't email anyone.
It felt like absolutely forever.
Can't Skype my parents.
And those first 2 days without phones and internet were the absolute worst. And then when the phones were turned on, that made it a little bit better, but even then, some people's phones would work and some others wouldn't, and it just was kind of a hit and miss thing.
Stressful. Like, where's the off internet switch? Like, how does that work? I don't understand.
Yeah. I think that one of our, orientation leaders said by doing this, Mubarak has beaten, China and Russia.
Just that the power for that can exist in one person's hands is pretty, it's kind of terrifying.
That's really the first time that I felt what it was like to live under, not live, but to sort of experience part of life under a dictatorial regime. The worst pictures, or one of the worst pictures for me was pictures showing the looted Cairo Museum, because that was also one of the places that I desperately wanted to go to. So seeing that looted was just really sad for me.
Most of our friends there who were Egyptian, they didn't believe, or no one really believed it was going to get that big, or that we'd actually have to leave. We didn't think we'd have to leave, really, until the buses were actually there, and they were offering rides to the airport.
The first inkling that I had was when we heard on the news that the U.S. Embassy had was setting up volunteer, or was basically recommending that all of its citizens leave, and then the president came, I think the day before the bus came, and basically said you can stay, but you won't be able to leave campus. We're not sure when classes will start. The internet was still down, so there wasn't really anything to do. And so then that's when I started to sort of think about leaving, and then the fear that I had was that we would be actually forced to leave, and I actually ended up having to leave like a bag of some of my stuff and on my dorm because I couldn't fit it in my suitcase, and you can bring another bag on the plane. So
just a lot of uncertainty about where we're gonna go, what was gonna happen next, if we're gonna have to go back home, if we were gonna be able to still do an abroad program.
There was armored trucks, and not just one. Like, you would go and you'd see one armored truck and soldiers, and then you go a few more feet and you'd see another group of armored trucks with soldiers. So that was what was clear, that it was pretty much like this. I mean, I knew that it was serious seeing the news, but when I actually saw it, got to the airport, there was this huge line of people outside. We waited in line outside from noon until 11.
We were told it was going to fly to some sort of safe haven, either in Istanbul, Cyprus, or Athens, and mine happened to be Athens. It was a program I'd heard about before, and I had already thought about doing because I'm an art minor. It works out pretty nicely. And when I was in the airport, I was talking to my mom, who was talking to my school, who was talking to other programs, and COA was actually reaching out to students who were being evacuated from Cairo. It was a program my school already approved of. There's already other Colby students here. And then I found out my flight was actually going to Athens, which was pretty convenient.
My original plan was to get to Scotland and do the program at St. Andrews there. But my study abroad advisor sent me an email saying no about Greece.
And everyone was so nice to me. They brought me straight away to the apartment. Actually, it was such a nice apartment, its own kitchen. That was so relieving. And they let me, before they talked to me, before they I don't know, even asked me what was going on, they let me take a nap, let me take a shower. And then about maybe a couple hours later, and we talked about. It's hard to remember what we talked about. Just like what was going to happen, what I needed to do, and the order. And everyone was so helpful, very, very understanding, I guess, and helped us a lot getting into classes, getting our books, getting our apartment. It was all very nicely set up for us, which is such a relief coming here.
I would say the only thing that would make it better is if the pyramids, like, if I could magically, not magically, but if I could somehow, teleport over to Egypt to see the pyramids and, all of the sites, and then come back here.
It was almost comical getting into the taxi ride from the airport here, and the first thing the taxi driver tells me is that, oh, there's going to be a lot of traffic because, there's a lot of strikes and protests today. It's like, kidding me? Just came from the center of strikes and protests. So it's almost hard not to, I don't know, it's hard to put the two in perspective to each other. They're very different.
Yeah, to us, Athens strikes and protests, compared to Egypt's, they're really not that bad.